Hardware store workers, what is the most I just committed murder purchase you've ever seen? When I was 16, some friends and I were buying PVC pipe. A worker, who was a 20-something stoner, asked if we needed help finding anything and we gave them our list. He chuckled and said, "You're building a potato gun." We claimed we weren't and he just shook his head and told us we were doing it wrong. He showed us all the parts and told us how to put together our, not potato gun. I hope that dude is thriving because the potato gun he helped us with literally shot a potato over 2 football field lengths. It was basically a 5-foot-long mortar. In my spare time I'm sometimes a stagehand. Recently I had to buy plastic tarps, duct tape, and zip ties for a production. I didn't think about how that would look until the obviously very new cashier was like, "Ah, that's some collection of items you got there." My hardware store did sell to a serial killer about 20 years ago. He ordered rope in a specifically short amount of chain and wire that was sold by the foot. He later used those to strangle his victims. After he was caught, recipes were found from our store. Police came in, showed the picture, and my boss confirmed he had bought the stuff. I work for a call center of a farm-type supplies and I had a guy call and order some buckets, a tarp, and some like 5 pairs of gloves and made sure that these were shipped to his office, not home. Not a murder, but a woman once came into Fleet Farm in the middle of the workday in a very nice business suit. I rung up for her a castrator, pliers, and 1 single bag of bands. I asked if she wanted to put it on a farm sheet and she said it wasn't for farm use, completed her purchase in cash and walked out. It was not spring, when sheep castrating usually happens, and she was what I would call highly agitated. I watched the newspaper for a while after that. I once bought 4 bottles of bleach and a wire brush with no other items. The checkout lady didn't laugh when I said it was hard to get blood out of tile law, not hardware but close to it. Circa 1998 I was working at a gas station one night and a man comes in with a blue gas can. He prepays I think $3 of gas and leaves after pumping it into the can. It stuck out in my mind because blue cans are supposed to be for kerosene. 3 to 4 days later everyone was talking about the fire someone set that killed a woman. A fire investigator shows up at the station and asks if I remembered a certain name and or vehicle. I don't. The investigator then tells me that they can tell which gas station gas came from, so it has to have been bought either at our station or 115 or so miles down the road. After chatting a bit he mentioned that the arsonist had used a blue gas can. The light bulb came on over my head and I mentioned seeing one. The guy with the blue can ended up killing someone with the gas I sold him. A long time ago my mom worked as a manager at a local Ace hardware store that sold guns and ammo. She had a story of a guy that came and then very urgently wanted to buy a gun and 1 bullet. She refused him. I bought a murder kit for my friend's birthday from the dollar store a few years ago. The cashier didn't care at all, but the guy in front of me was looking worried. I bought a shovel, concrete, contractor bags, tarp, bleach, goggles, Tyvek suit, gloves. Why I really bought all that? Completing turnover repairs on a rental property. Had to dig around a porch slab and reinforce with additional concrete. The porch was surrounded by a flower bed, so all of the dirt had to be put on the tarp. Trash bags were used to pick up all of the trash left on the property by the previous renters. Bleach was diluted with water and used to kill mold spores in the shower surround. Goggles and Tyvek suit were used while operating a paint sprayer to paint the interior of the home. I have made similar purchases to this hundreds of times for home repairs. So far, no FBI agents have come looking for me. Hacksaw. A woman had killed her lover and stuffed the body under the bed until she could dispose it. After she was caught, the police came by to confirm she bought it from us. Edit. Wow, this blew up. For more context, this happened in a Jersey Shore town sometime between 2000 and 2007. I tried Googling the details I remember but couldn't find an article. I worked at a mom-and-pop hardware store during high school and college. Fascinating place to work. Dealt with people from every conceivable walk of life and some truly quirky regulars. You work retail enough you don't even notice. The person could roll through with duct tape, a chair, a large metal wash tub, 2 bags of quick-set concrete and a bag of zip ties, and it wouldn't even slow down the cashier except to roll the bag of concrete over to get at the barcode. Contractor bags, hacksaw, shovel, quicklime. I work in Detroit so we keep them all in the same aisle. When my family owned a hardware store we unknowingly ended up selling a handsaw to a guy who later used it to cut up the body of his girlfriend he murdered. A couple of us ended up having to testify at his murder trial to help prove premeditation. I never ended up following the trial any further, but I think he was unfortunately suffering from a mental breakdown or illness. Had a lady once buy a bunch of plastic wrap, duct tape, and bleach. Swore it was for spring cleaning. Years ago had a guy walk in quickly and say he needed a shovel, black tarp, and lime. I told him where everything was and said, "And I don't want to know about it." He was confused and I said, "You are buying things to dispose of a body." He got sad. His dog had died. I swear, this dude bought a shovel, gloves, bleach, and trash bags. I low-key thought he was starting a murder spree. About 20 years ago I worked at a Sears that was in one of the last major shopping centers on the way to a very fashionable vacation destination. A well-dressed older guy in a baseball cap came in and filled up his cart with saw blades, hand saws, drill bits, and so many vices. It was all woodworking stuff but in surprising quantities. Usually the big sales were to young people just starting out in a trade, or recent retirees starting a new hobby. The woodworkers this guy's age tended to have established shops, garages, and would come in for replacement pieces, but this was all brand new. I wanted that commission so I worked a little extra to help him find stuff. He was pleasant and soft-spoken. When I rang him up and asked for his phone number for the rewards program, he gave me a number with an LA area code. Back then it was more rare for people to have out-of-state numbers, especially among our usual customers. That alone combined with the purchase made him stand out. I entered the number and his name popped up on the screen. Wes Craven, large X, cheap tarps, bulk box of duct tape and an air filter. Not a hardware store but a discount chain. I testified on the validity of video footage of the murderers buying rope, shovel, gloves, and the items to bury the body. These guys used a brand associated only with that chain of stores. Pretty easy to trace the tools back to where they were purchased.